Welcome to County Connection, where we talk about events, programs, and services offered by Summit County government. I'm your host, Julie Suter. We have a great show for you lined up for this September episode. We're going to talk about
wildfires, the 911 Center, the Teen Center and Mountain Mentors, the Summit Seniors.
Thanks for joining us. For our first segment of this September episode, we are going to be talking about what we refer to as our second wildfire season. And here to tell us all about it, our Chief Jeff Barino from Summit Fire and EMS. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
And our Director of Emergency Management for Summit County, Brian Bovaird. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks, Julie.
All right, so Jeff, people often refer to this time of year in late summer, early fall as our second wildfire season. So what do we mean by that?
You're exactly right, Julie. In Summit County, in a typical year, we'll see a wildfire season that starts anywhere from late March and spikes in June, like we saw this year at the Buffalo Fire on June 12th. This summer we were a little light on the monsoon rains, weren't we? But generally the monsoon rains and humidity come up around the 4th of July and moderate things a little bit. We didn't see too much of that this summer, but now we're getting into our second season, which starts shortly after Labor Day and will go until we have permanent snow on the ground. How does that happen? We're starting to get frost already in August in Summit County, early September, and the fuels are going to cure out and turn brown, and that does raise our fire danger. We think we're out of the woods, but not until we have snow on the ground. So that's our second season.
Okay, so we kind of think of, because some of us, if we get up early enough, we have to scrape our windshields, our temperatures are cooler, we have shorter days, so it sort of feels like wildfire season could be over. But tell us what is going on with our fuels actually. You talked about curing, so explain to us what's actually happening with that vegetation out in the forest.
The vegetation is getting very prone to fire starts at this time of year because with the pine needles coming down off the trees when the beetles came through, that's allowed sunlight to get to the ground for many times, for this first time in literally decades. And what we're getting is grass 3-4 feet high, and some of the lodgepole trees are coming down on top of that. We call that jackstraw, and that makes the conditions very ripe this time of year with fine dry fuel, brown grass, and what we call jackstraw. It's extremely hard to fight these fires.
Right, and so this isn't all just kind of theoretical and like science geek stuff. We actually have a history of seeing some pretty serious wildfires. So tell us about some of the history we've seen.
I'm kind of a wildfire nerd on this.
I love that.
And I know you like it. Everyone needs a geek in an area. And I do study the wildfire danger a lot and the wildfire weather. I follow daily what's called our SIG charts. It's for special interest groups, and it follows a very important item called the energy release component. And while this may look like a bunch of squiggly lines, it allows us to follow the fire danger from year to year here at Summit County out of our own weather station and compare them with previous years. The bottom line will show a wet year. The top line will show the worst year. And if we follow 2018, we're following the exact pattern as 2002 and 2012, which were very bad fire years in Colorado. So there is some science to this. We take it seriously. It's a guide. We use common sense, of course, but daily we're looking at the fire weather, the observations, the fuel moistures, the weather, the relative humidities, and the energy release component, which I just talked about. So there is some science involved in this.
And so what are some of the some second wildfire season fires that we've had that people may be familiar with?
Historically, we've had several. In 2005, I believe it was the Ophir Mountain fire behind the high school, which was started by a power line issue. Several years ago, on October 2nd, 2015, we had the Brush Mountain Fire, almost 300 plus acres north of Silverthorne. That was lightning caused. Last year in September, we had the Tenderfoot 2 fire, which was a problem with the power line. So multiple causes. 80%, about 8 or 9 out of fires are caused by humans. On that, human-caused fires do include power line issues, catalytic converters, dragging chains, smoking. It's not all intentional, like some of us think with abandoned campfires or arson. Anything that is not lightning related is what we call human-caused.
So, given that the vast majority of wildfires are human-caused, what should residents and visitors in Summit County be thinking of during the late summer, early fall, while the potential is still out there to have a wildfire?
Good question. Vigilance. Common sense. We're having hunting season is starting. We're going to have a lot of visitors into the woods. So we need to keep an eye on each other. There still is, as of today, late August, have a stage 1 fire ban in effect in the county. We expect that to stay in place until we feel comfortable that we can release it. So we need to all be vigilant and do the right thing and use common sense.
All right, those are some great tips. And so that's on the prevention front. So let's move into the preparedness zone. And so Brian, tell us, what are some of the key things people should be having in mind related to being prepared for a wildfire if it does break out?
Sure. There's a couple things, and it's really pretty simple. What we encourage everybody in Summit County to do is have two things. The first is an emergency preparedness kit, and that can be very simple. Really, what we're looking for is water for 3 days, an AM battery-powered radio, flashlight, and then you can go from there. But those are really, that's the start of the emergency kit that we're looking for. And there's a great resource. It's called ready.gov. And they go much more into depth with things like what to prepare for your animals, if you have pets, what to prepare if you have prescription medicines, a little bit more in depth. And the other thing that's really important is to have an emergency preparedness plan for your family. And again, at ready.gov, they have the resources there to help guide you through this process. And it's things in there that include where your family might meet up if you can't get back to your house. Right. Some contact numbers that you can reach if the circuits are busy in the local area, where you can call out of the area where you might get through. Some things like that. So those are the two big things: a family plan and a preparedness kit.
Right, because if in a situation where there's an evacuation, sometimes things move really quickly and can be a little hectic. So having thought through some of those types of things ahead of time can really reduce some of the stress and anxiety during an incident.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that a lot of people watching this have seen some of the viral videos of the California fires and how quickly some of these people are surprised by a fire and how fast they move. It's crazy to think about on a day like today and when it doesn't happen often, but it's certainly, we live in an area where there is the possibility for rapid fire growth and the need to get out of your home quickly.
Right. So another important issue related to preparedness is making sure that you have the ability to receive information from public agencies like ours when we need to communicate with you to let you know about an evacuation, to keep you updated on the situation. So how can people be assured that they're going to get the information that they need from us during a wildfire or any other emergency?
Yeah, great question. And we are fortunate enough to have the cutting edge technology in public notification and warning and through SC Alert. And that's the system that we use, that we can call you, we can email you, we can text you, but we need you to sign up. If people don't sign up for it, then we can't alert them. So if you go to scalert.org, then you can sign up there. You can sign up for just general emergency alerts, or you can sign up for all different types of informational alerts. And that's a system that we rely heavily on, and that should be considered the primary source of information up to the date as we're getting it and letting the public know.
All right, fantastic. So lastly, where can people go if they're interested in learning more about things related to wildfire, such as current fire restrictions, evacuation kits, prevention strategies, where do we keep that information?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I threw out a couple websites, but really the best place to go to get all of the information is going to be our website. And you can get there at www.summitcountyco.gov/wildfire.
Fantastic. And Jeff, if folks are interested in learning more about what you guys have going on at Summit Fire and EMS, how can they find that information from
Our
you?
webpage is the best bet, Julie, and that's at summitfire.org.
All right, fantastic. Brian and Jeff, thanks so much for sharing this great information with us, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for a mellow second wildfire season.
Let's hope so, Julie, and everybody stay safe this fall.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.